Well, we're back here, aren't we? I mentioned in my first video regarding the animals of Farthing Wood that I would have needed you guys to tell me something if you wanted Series 2 and 3. But it's been nagging at me so much, I just had to handle the others. It just doesn't feel complete talking about just the first series alone. I also mentioned in that review regarding the first series how different the others were to Series 1, and how they don't match up just as well. With that said, I'll be looking over the second series of the Animals of Farthing Wood today, released a year after the first series did. Does it hold up? Well, let's find out. As before, the first thing is the story. Usually in a series like this, the series would have completely ended once the animals arrived in White Deer Park. In Series 2, however, it takes a rather bold step and actually shows what happens in White Deer Park. Upon arrival, the Farthing Wood animals almost immediately start getting into trouble, with the local residents especially. After some consideration, the fox, and by extension the great white stag, decide to make them have their own land, called Farthing Land, where the oath can still exist and be respected. And the rest of the series mainly shows the struggles the animals have in trying to keep this land from the brink of ruin. This difference already sets it apart from Series 1. In the first series, it's about survival in the world on their way to White Deer Park. And now it's survival in White Deer Park, already making it rather different. As far as the overall tone is concerned, it's still about the same as the first series, but the problem is that it isn't as dynamic as the first one was. The first series had hunters, wildfires, pets, and all sorts of other things, but since the journey is now over, the only main threat they have are those in the park. The cold of winter, the poachers, which honestly don't last long, and the main antagonist in the blue foxes, which I'll cover more on later. It still shows how dangerous the world is, as the tone has always been, but it's just not as spread out as before, at least for the first half anyway. Eventually the series does split into two plots. The Series 1 kinda did this as well, but it merges back into the same plot later. Here, the plot splits into two and stays that way till the very end. So yeah, it still shows the world, but it just takes a bit getting there. When it comes to the brutality in Series 2, well, the first one, we had the Shrike with the mice. And in the second, well, here's the first one.
And then the sudden shock of the cold.
And here's the second. Yeah, both scenes I consider equally barbaric, though not as gory as the first or as shocking, but is still pretty high up there. Back to the places in question, the second series does take a step up in terms of quality. As I said though, the amount of places shown has taken a step down for White Deer Park and how it looks, but it does recover once the series does split into two plots later on. The background itself is now a lot more detailed compared to before, and it still holds that watercolor quality. The animals themselves also look well done as before, and doesn't pop out as much either, which is quite a plus for me. As for the animations, it still suffers from reused animations as before, but there is still plenty of times where new animations are used and better quality animations done as well. The scenes before might have been a clue, Now for the big part, and probably the golden feature of Series 2, the characterization. Out of all three series, that's where it truly shines. The voices of these new characters are done fairly well and are memorable in plenty of ways. Each new character now, apart from a very few, actually have their own true names this time around, separating them from the original cast, which, as I said before, only have their animal names. Series 1 focused on the journey and less on the characters' interaction. Series 2 is the other way around, characters strong and traveling weaker. Honestly, that's what makes this better in new and old characters, and gives me a lot more to talk about this time. Let's start off with some of the new characters, beginning with the main antagonist, Scarface. We know almost immediately from the get-go that he and the Blue Foxes were going to cause trouble, and as far as villains go, he is one of the more active ones. He doesn't send out any henchmen to do his deeds, he goes right out and does it himself. Although many scenes just show him hunting the other Farthing animals, he is shown to be pretty threatening, cunning, and pretty manipulative, especially to Weasel. Extra props on who decided his voice because it is pure gold.
Alright. On one condition. I want you to be my spy in the Farthing Wood camp. From now on, I want to know every move Fox makes. Got it? Good. Well then, till next time.
This series also hosts two of my favorite characters, two foxes named Bold and Ranger. For Ranger, he is the son to Scarface, but has the same sort of mindset as the Farthing Foxes, though this isn't until after he met Charmer, one of Fox's cubs. Yeah, this is a signal for Romeo and Juliet, but Ranger does have a unique sort of answer in terms of whose side he will be fighting for.
I've thought about this a good deal. If it came to an all-out scrap between your family and mine, I wouldn't fight against you, but I wouldn't fight for you either.
Well, at least he's honest.
Did I mention his voice is great too? Then comes in my most favorite character, Bold. Bold is an adventurous and brave pup, if not a bit headstrong, and it's him who the second plot focuses on. I like to also mention that I like his plot more because of Bold himself, and the other characters that show up in his plot. The main ones here include a female badger named Shadow, Bold's helpful friend Crow, the city vixen Whisper, and a large horned dog named Rollo. All these characters aren't truly unlikable in Bold's plot, which helps it out a bit more in terms of what happens during his travels. Even with these improvements on new characters, some are still one note, unfortunately. Friendly, for instance, has this ongoing joke on how unfriendly he is to those around him. Charmer is the pre-mentioned Juliet in the romance plot. Lady Blue is Scarface's mate, who honestly doesn't have that much else going for her. Then we have Measly, Weasel's partner in crime, I guess. Honestly, I don't know with him. He has this one big moment where I'm not sure about. Is he supporting Farthing Wood, or is he enforcing Weasel to ditch them? Honestly, I don't know, and I'm getting pretty confused on it. Of course, the older characters of Farthing Wood are shown a bit more development in their stay in White Deer Park, and are no longer considered one note as before. Kestrel, for instance, was simply a lookout for the group before, but unfortunately her arrival in the park had her stuck with some traumatizing events that affect her character from then on.
You beast! You've eaten my wife!
Your wife? Field Mouse, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Oh, dear. How embarrassing.
Weasel is probably the best example I could think of, and I think I actually know why. Series 1 just had her as this annoying thing, and most of the danger didn't focus on her. But straight away in Series 2, her behavior was getting her into more and more trouble, and forcing her to dull down on her annoyance. This is a character who's being scorned by everybody, and had her life on the line thanks to Scarface forcing her into being his spy. I consider this as the universe's version of Ultimate Whiplash, and karma finally caught up with her. There is one big moment and a big problem that I want to talk on before wrapping up. Fox had become a lot more harsh in later episodes because of Scarface's activity, and it was during this that one particular and rather big moment had took place in. Scarface went on to kill one of the Farthing hares, and that finally forces Fox to try to kill him. He went on to tell Weasel and Measley to get Adder, delivering him a message to her. Later on, the Weasels apparently screw up, and Adder gets the wrong Fox. The rest of the series is trying to get me to think that the Weasels were at fault, but guess what? It's not. It's Fox's fault. Why? Here's what he told the Weasels to say.
Tell her, Fox says, he who rids me of the blue fox will be doing me a great service.
And here's what the Weasels told Adder.
He said... Oh, wait a minute. Let me get it right.
He said...
Shut up!
No, he didn't say that.
He said, tell Adder, he who rids me, I mean him, of, now how did he put it? Something blue fox.
I don't think it matters, does it?
Anyway, he said they'd be doing him a service, so there you are.
In the end, technically, Weasel actually got it right, and it was Fox's fault that Adder got the wrong Fox in the first place because he made the wrong message. One scene addressing this would fix it. I don't care how, I just want it to be addressed. Heck, here's an edited scene I made that would touch on the subject.
So, what did you say exactly?
Be quiet. What more do you want?
Fox. What did you say exactly?
All right. He who rids me of the blue fox.
Stupid fox. Wants me to kill a Scarface, not a blue fox.
What?
Don't be upset. Fox didn't mean it.
Well, why didn't Fox tell me so himself, instead of sending those stupid weasels as his... Shut up!
You've got a long way to go before you can tell me what to do.
Next time, you may not be so lucky.
Then I've really done it, haven't I?
I can't believe no one noticed this in the rest of the series, and it's simply just a shame. So, my final thoughts? While the second series of The Animals of Farthing Wood is held back slightly, I still think it succeeds from the first series well in its characters and visuals. It didn't copy Series 1 too much, though similar problems are present. In the end, this series is my favorite of the three, hands down. Give it a look at it if you wish, but if you're planning to continue on to the final one, well, my review of that will come out soon enough. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Neon out.